When it comes to the term love at first sight, there are some movie cars that fit this bill perfectly. They don't always have to impress us with any particular extraordinary feat of accomplishment or special effect, as their presence alone can sometimes be more than enough for us the audience to automatically desire them. MFP presents 10 movie car introductions.
Just make sure nothing happens to that Ferrari. That's a $50,000 automobile, you know.
Oh no, it's $67,000.
With an added budget to a box office hit, came more flash in its 1987 sequel, Beverly Hills Cop 2. After first beginning with the robbery scene taking place in Beverly Hills, the film cuts once again to Detroit, Michigan, where we are once more introduced to our lead character of Detroit detective Axel Foley, played once again during the height of his fame by comedian legend Eddie Murphy. After having left the character of rough around the edges wisecracking cop in the first film, we are now introduced to him showing off, donning an attire fit for a criminal kingpin. We soon find our lead in his own personal garage, where awaits him a red 1986 Ferrari 328 GTS. Directed by English director Tony Scott, who had just worked the previous year with Beverly Hills Cop producers Bruckheimer and Simpson on the smash hit Top Gun, Scott brings his trademark shadowy style and lighting to the follow-up, as the Ferrari is displayed in an almost commercial-like manner, as it is soon seen roaring out of the garage and into the Detroit streets. With the 80s rock song Shakedown by Bob Seger playing in the background, giving the audience a massive adrenaline boost as the film starts, the Ferrari is displayed in all its glory, racing in and out of traffic as the credits continue to roll over the scene. In a continuity error, due to the film being shot sparingly in Detroit, as is present with all the local US Motor Factory signs on display, the 328 GTS is seen randomly changing from scene to scene to a 1979 308 GTS, as the 328 was filmed in Los Angeles and is mostly obvious due to the 308 bumper. With the 328 3.2-litre V8 producing 270 horsepower, and the 308 with its 2.9-litre 240 horsepower V8, both cars were indeed an icon of the 80s, and an obvious favourite of producers Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, so much so that both had their own matching pair back in the day.
Your secret undercover partner, Mario Andretti Friedman, wrecked the goddamn Ferrari.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
1980 saw SNL stars John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd team up to bring to the big screen their characters of Jake and Elwood Blues for the comedy classic The Blues Brothers. Beginning the film by seeing the release of Jake from prison to be greeted at the front gates by his brother Elwood, Belushi's character is introduced to his dismay the new Bluesmobile, which is in the form of a decommissioned Mount Prospect, Illinois police vehicle. Retaining its black and white color scheme, the brothers drive away in their one-time cop vehicle, while the scene is overlaid by the song She Caught the Katy, originally written by Taj Mahal and James Ratchell, performed by the Blues Brothers themselves. Explained by Elwood, the vehicle in question is a 1974 Dodge Monaco V8, carrying the famous 440 Magnum cubic inch power plant, claiming it has a full cop package still intact, as their original Bluesmobile, a 1968 Cadillac Fleetwood 60 Special, was traded in for a microphone and a replacement was needed. With Jake constantly knocking the new mascot vehicle for the brothers, it falls to Elwood to try and convince his brother of the value of his choice of car, which thanks to this film's popularity, has become many a movie car fan favourite, along with a number of law enforcement who have been told through stories give this car a wide berth on the streets when seen in person or even in replica form. Said to have obtained 13 cars to portray the Bluesmobile, which were actual former police vehicles from the California Highway Patrol, the production made it obvious just from its introduction, where we see the car being shown off by Elwood by jumping over the 95th Street Bridge in Chicago, that this car was going to deliver one hell of a ride throughout the rest of the film.
What do you say? Is it the new Bluesmobile or what?
Fix a cigarette lighter.
If you had access to a car like this, would you take it back right away? Neither would I.
Already decided to make this one simple day as special as possible, what better way to do this for the lead character in his self-titled film Ferris Buellers Day Off than by stealing his best friend Cameron's father's prized possession, a 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California Spider, originally equipped with a V12 3-litre 240 brake horsepower engine that was able to go from 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds and had a top speed of 145 miles per hour. When senior high schooler Ferris Bueller, played by Matthew Broderick, decides to take a day off by faking an illness, he enlists the help of his best friend Cameron, played by Alan Ruck, and girlfriend Sloane, played by Mia Sara, to join him on his own little adventure. Directed by John Hughes, who was one of the most in-demand teen movie comedy directors of the time, he had decided he needed to add an extra addition to this story of teenage hijinks, by including an introduction to one of the most beautiful cars ever seen on film. After expressing concerns about how to convincingly pick up his girlfriend Sloane from high school to avoid suspicion, Ferris requests to see Cameron's father's garage Ferrari in an introduction with 80s movie popular song Oh Yeah by Yellow played in the background. Shown in close-ups and with quick edits, The red Ferrari is indeed a sight to see, as its value to Cameron's father is explained, and Ferris eventually takes the car with him after some minor debate. Not having access to an original 250 GT, as the insurance just to have the car static on set would have been astronomical, it was said 3 replicas were built for the production by Medina Design and Development, though despite its lack of authenticity, the Medina replica, which can still be custom ordered and built even today, is indeed a highlight of the film, and its introduction is one of the more memorable scenes of the movie, not including its ultimate demise.
Come on, love a little.
He is a phantom, a wraith, a cosmic spirit given another chance.
Beginning the film with the incarnation to our lead vehicle of choice to seek revenge on the road is the 1986 cult classic, The Wraith. Starring a young Charlie Sheen as a spirit brought back to avenge his murder at the hands of street racers, we are shown a situation with no explained on-screen backstory, where several blue beams of energy are shown flying across the Arizona desert landscape, where they are coming together to merge in the center of a crossroads. Once this meeting of power takes place, we the audience are revealed to an out-of-this-world, one-of-a-kind car, whose aerodynamic sleek curves and teardrop shape are highlighted in close-up and painting form. Backlit and shown with blue light, the car is soon shown with a helmeted grim-like figure, standing next to this dark manifestation and breathing in an almost Darth Vader manner. With a low budget and still fresh cast, the producers had decided to find a unique car to showcase in their film. It was through the Dodge Motor Company did they find the 1984 M4S PPG pace car, hand-built and designed by Bob Ackerman and his crew, with the purpose of creating a 4-cylinder American-built sports vehicle that could exceed in speeds of over 200 miles per hour. Though failing just short and reaching 194.5 miles per hour on the race circuit, this 2.2-litre DOHC 440 horsepower engine with a brown bronze-like $20,000 paint scheme had proven to be a one-of-a-kind indeed, to the point where outside of its first close-up we get in the intro, several molds needed to be made and placed on VW chassis in order to complete the needs of the story, which would see the car demolish in collisions and regenerate itself to its original perfection. With the film being a box office failure, the car itself is the one aspect many fans remember fondly, and despite the movie being almost 40 years old, its look and appeal has seemed to highly diminished over the years, and is still discussed by many movie car fans and enthusiasts, to the point of even creating their own custom version of the M4S.
You ever seen one of those before? Let's just add it to our collection first.
The cops would never give that a second glance.
220 miles an hour and they aren't gonna get a second glance.
Perhaps the most replayed scene of any intro to a car chase movie, the opening to 1981's star-studded The Cannonball Run, helped usher in the new decade with a car that had not yet been fully known in the West, but would become one of the biggest poster models of the decade. Deciding to make a movie about the real-life Cannonball Baker Sea to Shining Sea memorial trophy dash he created, Brock Yates was able to get his idea about a group of adventure seekers who partake in a cross-country race from the US East Coast to the West Coast made, thanks to the help of his good friend and hot off his Smokey and the Bandit directorial debut, Hal Needham. With an array of colourful cast of characters led by Burt Reynolds, the film would gather an impressive collection of sports cars, with the one standing out the most being a 1979 black V12 370 brake horsepower Lamborghini Countach LP 400S. Seen racing down the highways of Nevada as the sun rises, the distinctive engine sound of the Countach is heard blaring over the speakers before the sudden introduction of the song Cannonball by Ray Stevens begins. The sheer speed of the tempo, along with the encouragement of the lyrics, fit in perfectly with seeing the Italian beauty outrun local authorities. Driven by the female racing pair Jill and Marcy, played by Tara Buckman and Adrienne Barbeau, the Lamborghini used was one of the first Countachs imported into the US, and once to have been an official entry for the real-life event back in 1980. Yet because of the fear of the entry of the Countach, Yates was concerned that the race had lost its original meaning and decided to end the event that year. However, when it came to finding the flagship car for the film, it was the same Lamborghini brought in and used as featured on the poster and opening, and left the greatest impact for the series, and a tradition that would continue for 2 more related films. Opening the film with the birth of our antagonist of the story, John Carpenter's Christine has the honour of being the first Hollywood movie to use George Thorogood's Bad to the Bone as its intro music, right after we are treated to the sound of the 4-barrel 350 Golden Commando V8 engine starting up as it roars while the title rolls, though it has been said that the motor sounds used for Christine throughout the movie are that of a 1970 Mustang 428 Cobra jet engine. First taking place in 1957, we are shown a Detroit motor assembly line, where a multitude of 1958 Plymouth Furies are presented in buckskin beige paint, which was the only actual colour the 58 Fury was released in. Among them is a cherry red standalone, which slowly passes by several factory workers before she is stopped to have her hood opened and inspected under, ending with a slamming down on someone who dared lay hands on Christine, as she would affectionately be called by. The film tells the story of a demonically possessed car that is obtained by a high school loser, which it helps to build his confidence as the two share a bond and target anyone who would get in their way. The car would be seen going through a multitude of changes, from being found in an almost abandoned state to being fully restored and later demolished and rebuilt again. But it is here in the opening scene do we get a full look at Christine in all of factory-produced perfection. Although originally written as a four-door Fury by King, which was not produced this way by Chrysler, the production of the film was able to obtain 24 to 27 Plymouths for use, some ranging from 1957 to 58 Belvederes and Savoys, and were repurposed for use in this scene in the opening for the film, showing just how much of a standout this one-of-a-kind flame red Fury would become.
Engage and fire the passenger ejector seat.
Ejector seat? You're joking.
I never joke about my work, 007.
The third entry into the series, and the one many consider perhaps to be the best, Ian Fleming's Goldfinger would set the precedent for the James Bond franchise by introducing many of the tropes that are still used to this day, one of which is the Aston Martin DB5 equipped with gadgets. Gaining global fame thanks to the two previous installments, Sean Connery as the British Secret Service agent James Bond helped kick off the popularity of the spy of the 1960s, partly thanks to his on-the-job equipment requirements. Although only briefly used in the second entry in From Russia with Love, Desmond Llewellyn's Q of the Q branch of MI6 would come to shine in 1964's Goldfinger, as he guides our main character through his varying gadgets within his quarters until he reaches the main prize, a 1964 Aston Martin DB5 in silver birch, carrying a 4-litre inline-6 with 290 brake horsepower. Like the audience, James is at somewhat disbelief and amazement as the gadgets on the DB5 are explained to him by Q, ranging from revolving number plates, a tracking device and locator screen, controls for oil slick, smoke screen, rear bulletproof screen, and dual front machine guns, and the final installment is shown in the form of a gear lever button-controlled passenger ejector seat, along with other gadgets not mentioned in the debrief. Said to be a replacement to Bond's Bentley, the DB5 was an upgrade from the 1959 novel, where Bond was originally driving an Aston Martin DB Mark III. With two DB5s given to the production into bonnet red paint, one request was made in the cars to be delivered by Aston Martin in silver to match the Mark III's battleship grey paint scheme as stated within the book. Leaving a lasting impression from there on, the Aston Martin DB5 has remained the signature vehicle for James Bond and appeared numerous times throughout the decades in various installments, most prominently in the Daniel Craig James Bond series, and continues to remain a favourite among many. Being introduced early into Mad Max, the debatable main star of the first film next to Mel Gibson is shown in the form of a black-on-black 1973 Ford Falcon XB GT police vehicle, known as either the Pursuit Special or Interceptor. When Main Force Patrol top-shelf pursuit officer Max Rokitansky has doubts about remaining on the road, his commanding officer Fifi McAfee, played by Roger Ward, convinces the powers that be to fund the construction of a Pursuit Special to be known as the last of the V8s to be offered to Gibson's character. Filmed in the University of Melbourne parking garage, Max and his friend Jim Goose, played by Steve Bisley, are led by an overly enthusiastic police mechanic named Barry, played by David Cameron, who is the first to start the engine of the Pursuit Special under the famous order by Goose. Shown with its bonnet off and supercharged motor exposed, no music or other background noise can be heard other than the raw sound of the 351 V8 Cleveland engine and the belt-driven wind blower. Though hollowed out and mounted, and driven by an electric pulley for the production, Barry describes the specifics of the police car, claiming it to be the last of the V8s, which sucks nitro, a reference to the high-octane performance fuel, nitromethane, a Phase 4 head, which was a throwback to the famous Ford GTHO homologated racing car series that was cancelled by the government by its fourth phase, and whose parts were offered under the RPO 83 option for the XA. Despite the inaccuracy of claiming the motor came with twin overhead cams, which the Ford 351 V8 of the time did not come with, the car was also claimed to produce 600 horsepower. Though not making another appearance in the film until its third act, it is at this moment that we the audience and Max await what is to come next with glee, as a true blue Aussie legend is born.
Kick it in the guts, Barry.
Get in the car.
Which one?
When it was announced in the late 1980s that Batman was going to be made for the big screen, there were many who questioned its value, and if it was going to be just another retread of the campy 1960s Adam West TV series. Those doubts were all silenced when the film was released in the summer of 1989, and we got a glimpse of one of the most beloved versions of the famed Batmobile ever to be produced. hiring then fresh young director Tim Burton, who had shown modest success in his other Michael Keaton starring film that came out the year prior in Beetlejuice. 1989's Batman proved to be the biggest film of that year, with a box office taking of over $400 million US. Its dark and moody tone fit in perfectly with Burton's vision, and fans were more than pleased when at just over 1 hour into the film, we were finally introduced to the Batmobile. With the setup showing the character of Kim Basinger's photojournalist Vicky Vale confronted by Jack Nicholson's Joker, she is soon rescued by Batman as the two escape and make their way to the Gotham streets, where when told to get into the car, Vicky unknowingly asks which one, as she and us the audience see our hero's transport for the first time. Presented in full frame on screen, and with composer Danny Elfman's score playing in the background, we are shown the one-of-a-kind radical design spearheaded by production designer Anton Furst, based on original designs by Julian Caldeau. Placed on top of a Chevy Impala chassis, and with a 350 Chevy V8 engine, which produced 230 horsepower, the Batmobile is given its moment to shine as it speeds down the Gotham streets, showcasing a number of gadgets, such as grappling hook and armoured shield, as it evades both the Joker's goons and local police. Its biggest highlight is on its return to the Batcave, where its immersion into this world created by Burton is completed with thanks to a wonderful soundtrack playing as it roars into the night.
Stop.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Taking the top spot is a movie car that has now become an icon in pop culture, thanks to a little franchise called Back to the Future. An idea rejected for several years by many studios, the story of mad scientist Doc Emmett Brown, played by Christopher Lloyd, creates a time machine that leads his young friend Marty McFly, played by hot from his Family Tie series Michael J. Fox, to travel back to the past and accidentally disrupt his parents' meeting. Eventually backed thanks to the interest of Steven Spielberg, who saw promise in the idea and its creators. When it came to changing the concept of a time machine set within a refrigerator to a self-transportating vehicle, the option was made by writer Bob Gale and director Robert Zemeckis to opt for the ill-fated 1981 DeLorean DMC-12, which came with the V6 2.85 litre 130 horsepower engine in order to give it some alien-like style thanks to its gold-winged doors and stainless steel body, despite offers from Ford to feature their then new Mustang. It is here soon after we get a glimpse of this one-of-a-kind icon as Marty arrives at the Twin Pines Mall parking lot as the camera dollies in to reveal the DeLorean as it reverses off the transport truck, surrounded by mist, with Alan Silvestri's score playing in the background. Within minutes we see the time machine operated by remote control as it is about to demonstrate what it is capable of once it hits 88 miles per hour. Given its outer components and cobbled together look, mostly brought to fruition thanks to artist Ron Cobb's original design, no one had ever witnessed such a movie car before or since. With the DMC-12 being a failed project for car manufacturer John DeLorean, the surprise reveal of this film's choice of vehicle gave the audience a movie car many have replicated across the globe, as fans almost always reference this moment as being that which made them fall in love with it, making this indeed an intro to what can be best described as a piece of cinema history.
88 miles per hour!
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like, subscribe and bell icon in order to help this channel grow and to bring you more content such as this one, as your support is what keeps this channel going.